So after a year of weekend trips, extended adventures, people ask us, would you buy the Syncline again? Even after that leak we had. I think where Outside Van went above and beyond, really reinforced our decision to go with them. So absolutely in my mind.
And what they delivered off the factory floor is an incredible van. While we've made some modifications, they're really just to improve storage and allow us to do more of what we love in the van. So let us take you on a walkthrough of the entire van, show you all the modifications and all the great things about the Outside Van Syncline.
So stick around. So at the back of the van, obviously we'll talk about the outside at some point, but looking inside, I know, Vic, you talked about this before, right?
Yeah. So stock out of the factory, the van comes with these MOLLE panels up top. And then the bottom had sort of a mesh bag that was just sewn onto the fabric panel, which was convenient but not a lot of storage. So I made Velcro panels to go on the back so that we can store sort of all of our outdoor camp stuff, from our tables and our chairs to our kind of outdoor lights, fire starter, off coils, all those things we want to be able to quickly and easily access when we get to site and start setting up. And I guess geek out with my crafts because I like to
let's make it so you can see what she's showing you.
I have a cry cut. So I
Cricut?
No, it's actually a cry cut. We just call it a Cricut because it sounds better.
Yeah.
And I actually use that to make little labels so that I know what's in every one of the little black bags stored around the van, because once we go inside, you're going to see a lot more of these and kind of different shapes and sizes for different uses. But it makes it easy to know what's inside, quickly pull it out, and set up camp. Up higher from Radius Outfitters for our, dirty laundry, a way to hold my water bottle.
Yeah, it's important
at night. And then this side, we've got a first aid kit that we picked up. One upgrade that Outside Van does to the van from the stock Mercedes is they put in a new kind of sound system. So we've got some extra Alpine speakers up at the top of each side of the door. So, we can have good tunes while we're on our long trips.
Yeah. The other thing we do have back here.
Yeah. Outside shower.
Outside shower, which we'll show as well. So we mentioned before a little bit about the system. So water on this side, electrical, we'll talk about in a minute. But just want to show you kind of the setup. They do a really nice job. If you want to get in there, Vic, you can see really nice setup for all the shutoffs. For the tank drain is in there, and everything's labeled. This does come off for access. There's a water filter in there.
Shutoffs for every line.
Yeah, literally, and everything's labeled. As you can see, give you a little shutoff key. As I mentioned, the water filter is up in there. Can't really see it, but it's set back there. Electrical battery on the side. I did forget to mention over there, I've said it before in the other video, we have 20-gallon tank interior. If you didn't catch it, check out our other video where I made the portable pump. And underneath the spare tire basket, we actually put another 28-gallon tank, so we can store water under there and then pump it up into this tank if we need it. As far as the batteries on here, I have to look up exactly what we have. I think it's roughly 13 kilowatt hours in here for the battery. Again, some access for some of the breakers. You can see right there for the mains. 30 amp breaker, 60 amp breaker for DC power, air conditioner, and whatnot on that. And then really nice fuse panel. Again, everything's labeled, easy to find. We've got the fuses. There's other fuses under the passenger seat up front. You can show those a little bit later. But really clean, what you'd expect to find in a house almost. So plenty of power. We do have solar on the roof, about 140 watts up there, and maybe the external panel as well. Obviously, I should mention while I'm back here talking about power. like most systems now, does have the secondary alternator to charge up the battery when we're driving. Didn't mention it is a Volta system. When we go up forward, I'll show you the panel. I think we showed that in our little mini winter tour we did.
I think so. There's actually a fair amount of storage right here underneath the bed. It is something that I kind of have to plan ahead of what's going in here, because it's things that, you know, are really kind of extra or spare, since I need to actually lift up the bed to get into this cabinet. Those type of things that we may only need to access, you know, once a week versus multiple times a day. One of the other storage solutions that we got when we purchased the van as an add-on is their, what do they call this thing?
Switch blade?
Yeah.
Switch back, switch blade, switch something or other.
So it hangs off the L-track on the back wall.
And it is removable.
It is removable, which is nice.
You can show, right?
It's got, you know, 4 little knobs, so we can easily take it out. Molly panel in the back. We primarily use this for our clothes storage. So we have packing cubes that fit very nicely in here. They're about the same width as the bag itself. It's designed so you can easily pull it up. It's got toggles so that we can then kind of, when you do both sides, secure it out of the way to give you a little extra headspace. The other thing we use this for, you'll notice these little hooks up here. We've got a projector that we actually magnet up to the back of the Murphy bed, and then we've got a pull down screen that we hang off these 2 hooks so that we can, you know, watch TV in bed. All the conveniences of home. And then we have one other kind of small bag that we have up here mounted to the L-track that I use a lot of times to store things like breads, chips, anything that's kind of smushable for food, to keep it all in a separate safe space. So as we keep saying, storage space is at a premium in the van. So there's this kind of dead space on the bottom of the bed on each side of this Molly panel. I've made one, I haven't made a second yet, but I've got storage bags here underneath where I can put in things that, you know, we don't access often. So maybe heavier sweaters, or in the summertime, things like towels. And then I can utilize this, you know, 1.5 inch deep space underneath the bed. So one of the things we really liked when we originally looked at the van was this idea of the Murphy bed. It's very easy to operate. Since then, and we've been on a few trips, we've realized that it's not optimal from the perspective of having to put it up and down, and when we put it up, we've got to take all of the sheets and the comforter and everything off, and that kind of consumes all of our space in this bag up here. So what we've opted to do on our trips is we leave the bed down the entire time, but we really still like having the Murphy bed option from the perspective of if we're home and we got to run to Home Depot or Lowe's and pick up anything big, we still have all of this garage space to do that once the bed is up. The other thing I like about the bed is how easy it is to actually put up and down. Just a click of a button and the bed folds down. We'd like it even better if we could just, and like that, the bed is made. If only it was that easy every day. So the mattress on here is actually a pretty good mattress. It's a Roam Rest mattress. We did add an extra little pillow topper because we're getting old and some of our hips and our joint hurt. But with that extra little 2-inch memory foam on top, bed is super comfortable. We've got some extra storage up here. It's great for us to put our iPads, our laptops, easily accessible, and then USB chargers. We also have another set here. So we each have them on each end to charge our iPads and iPhones at night. So we've got a Rolef bug screen, which makes it great for when we're out. And, you know, it's not so hot that we need the AC, but still warm enough that we need to run the fan get a little extra air and circulation. And then the other perk is magnetic, so it makes it really easy to come in and out of the van when the screen's down. We've got a seat here, another little seat on this end.
Yeah.
We've got a mount for our
lagoon
table there, so we can either spin the front chair.
Yeah, did you point to the other one behind?
Yeah, and then there's another lagoon mount back here.
Yep.
So we can either mount the table so that we could sit between these two benches here, which you've probably seen in some of our videos already, or we can mount the table here, spin the front seat around, and then we can both sit in the front seat and on this bench. But they're not just seats. You know, it'd have to be a small person or a child, but we only have 2 seats for driving. But this does flip out, and the cushions rearrange. Convert this.
Back up so everybody can
I don't
see.
know if I got the cushions the right way, but we'll see. To make a sleeping space for a little person. There's hidden surprises. These aren't just benches in both of these. So
Sure, this is like access for. Actually needed to get into some of the plumbing, and then there's access. That's where all the electrical we talked about before. This van's really made for easy service.
and then this is the shower side. That means it gives us plenty of storage to get in here. It's a little messy, but we've got kind of
Not too bad.
all of our shoes. You can tell which ones are Pat's, which ones are mine.
Mine are the pink ones.
Yep. In shoe bags, just because out in the woods things get dirty, so it helps us keep things clean. We've got our, bath towels stored in here. If I pull out our towels, similar to Outback, we've got a whole shower pan in here. We got a water pump turn off back. So if we need to take a shower inside because it's too cold to do it outside, we've got this shower pan. There's a separate curtain that mounts up. You can see a couple little L-track kind of mounting clips up in the ceiling.
I'll show you up here. These guys.
Yeah, that mount up. And then the curtain snaps into the pan to make sure all of the water as you're showering all gets contained inside the shower. And then, to make it easier for those of us that maybe have a hard time stepping over a wall to get in and out, it does flip down to make it a little easier to get in and out of the shower space.
That's a solid pan in there too.
Yeah.
So if you want to come over, Vic. So we have a Rixon heater system in here, hot water, and the heat itself, as you can see.
Which is really, often you see them underneath the front passenger seat.
Yeah.
But logically, you sleep in the back of the van.
Yep.
Having the heater right in the middle is a really smart place to put it because it has the heat closer to the bed.
Plus, we talked about servicing too.
Yep.
So it makes it real easy for technicians to get in here, service this. Obviously, the exhaust is down below. It is diesel, so pulls from the diesel tank, but it's sipped. Vents are there for that stuff. Probably makes sense.
Might be a little messy.
Yeah, it's kind of full of stuff. So our nebula's up here and other things. So obviously the power switch, another 12 volt if we needed it for something. If we want to convert, so we have the high-speed Starlink system, the router. So if we did want to go to 12 volt, it is possible. That's what's up there. Again, not much storage space, but we use it. Our nebula projector that we talked about before is up
That's
there.
our electronics cabinet.
Yeah. So that's up there. I didn't mention before I get too much farther, we do have the Nomadic. It's actually the 48 volt air conditioner. Works really well. You can see a nice slim profile for it. So 48 volts, barely drawing anything, which is nice for those extended stays whenever we can get to them.
Yeah. It'll be good this summer.
Yeah. Rixon heater, really easy to use. Just the furnace and then simple switch for hot water if you want that to go on. It does have an electric element as well you can use if it's really cold, but it works great. I'd say it gets really hot, the water.
Yeah, like almost, you gotta be careful doing the dishes because it's almost burn your hands.
Yeah.
If you've got it on just hot, you need to make sure you've got it probably more on the cold side
Right.
of the mixing valve than the hot.
Yep. Volta system here. You can see, been running this for a while. Sun's finally gone down. We do have the solar I mentioned on the roof, which is Zamp solar, 140 there. I have a Renogy 220 for outside that we can plug in. The port's right under Vic's seat. I'll maybe throw some footage up here. Okay, there it is, perfect. Nice and easy, folds up small. Just plugs right in. As I said, I did get, so you've got Zamp on the top. It's got a Zamp plug, but you just get a little adapter that switches the polarity around. And then that's all we need. You can see plenty of time, barely drawn 45 watts at this point. All your short connects, real easy to use, real simple interface. Does have Bluetooth if you want with the app as well. Standard kind of toggle switches, gear lights for underneath, the water pump, ceiling lights. That's this area, and then I'm going to hand it back to you for the galley. Actually, we do have Max Air fan, which you can hear running maybe, not sure.
Which works great.
Yeah, it's really nice. As you see, those days when it's not hot enough that you need the AC, you know, just crack the awning windows, some of the back windows, put that on, and just pulls through and cools the van right down.
Okay, so next we have just a small microwave. We don't use it very often. We've maybe used it 2 or 3 times. So the other thing I use it for
every inch.
Yep. So I have our plates stored up in here, so maybe inconvenient, but it's not so bad because typically if I need the microwave, I'm probably putting something on plates anyway.
Yep.
This is primarily our one cabinet for food storage, so not a ton of space. The other thing we have in here is our monitor for the levels of our gray water and freshwater tanks, so that we can check and monitor those. Oh, we got 60%. Oh, gray's empty. You remembered.
Yep.
So just like everywhere else, we have like, it's not an extremely deep sink, but it's a very large sink for the size RV we're talking about. And just like everywhere else, I store the dish tray and the dishwashing pan inside the sink. And then underneath, there's still a fair amount of...
Did you want to mention the faucet?
Oh, yeah.
It is a nice...
It is a nice, not plastic, solid metal faucet, pull out. So even though the nice thing with the slightly shallower sink gives me plenty of storage underneath, you probably can't see it, but I've got our pots and pans stuffed in there, as well as dish soap, hand soap, my jet boil so I can make my hot water for my coffee in the morning. I think I even got the pot holders under there. I got a lot, surprisingly, stuffed under there. We got a few drawers. Even comes with a cutlery drawer so we can easily organize all of our silverware and all solid wood, dovetail joints.
Yep. Show the bottom one, just more of the same.
Yeah, it's just more of the same. Then we've got an induction cooktop, so rather than it being built into the counter, it's in the drawer, which is nice because it gives me extra prep space when I'm not using the induction stove.
Plug right on the side.
Yeah, we got plugs right on the side with it. Also right here on the side, which...
Did you want to talk about
Well, we'll talk about the fridge first. And then we've got I'm going to forget what kind of fridge it is.
Isotherm?
Yeah, isotherm fridge. Very small freezer.
Yep. It's not on right now.
Yeah, obviously. Not on.
Well, the light's on, but it's not on.
Yeah. But it's... Freezer's good enough to store, little ice cream sandwiches, ice cubes, a few small, minor things, nothing big. And then up here on the side, we've got the mount, or the storage location for the table and the lagoon mount. So it all fits in there nice and snug. It's all padded, so there's no noise or rattling from the table when we're driving, which is really nice. So another thing we've got from Radius Outfitters, looks very similar, except for the type of fabric at the bottom.
Yep.
To our laundry basket from out back, but it's a trash can, which makes it very convenient when I'm cooking to just throw my trash in the trash can. Then
Yeah, you didn't talk really about this before, did you?
no, we hinted to it in my failure
Yeah.
back curtain videos, but we did. Well,
You did.
I did.
I didn't do anything.
So for the front, we do have up. I'll show up top first, so you can see we've got a headliner shelf.
From Van Wife, I believe.
I don't know. You ordered it,
Yeah,
not me.
I put it in from Van Wife. Outside Van does make one. I think they came out with it after I'd ordered ours, so didn't get that one. But that works too. It's pretty sweet looking.
Yeah. So up here, I've got, as you've probably seen on some of our videos, I like to cook. So I've got a whole basket like this full of all my spices. Up here is a storage space. Then more of the bags. So I've got one for all of,
If you didn't know
aluminum
what's in
foil, Ziploc bags. My one beneath it, very
Do you
important.
want to pull it out just to show it?
It's all my
You made all these.
coffee supplies. Well, this one's probably easier to
Yeah.
open. So they all zip open. I've got all our, aluminum foil, Ziploc bags, everything neatly stored inside the bag, labeled. Then I can just get it stuffed up here. We've got our portable vacuum cleaner up there. There's one out of the bag up there, and I'm forgetting what's up there.
Is
Might need a map.
projector screen up there?
Projector screen is hidden up there. So you'll notice these little straps. So we used to hang the projector off of the
Shelf?
headliner shelf with a couple little L-shaped hooks. But once I put this on, we couldn't do that anymore. So I've got a couple straps sewn onto the projector, and we just clip it on here, pull the projector down, and then Pat mentioned we had a nebula. With that, we've got magnets, and this is magnetic. So we mount our nebula right up here, and then project it right at the screen up front. Spare paper towels, because I think the one thing that would be nice if that shelf under the bed was an inch or two deeper, so I could stand up paper towel rolls. But it's not quite tall enough for the paper towels, so they had to go.
We'd have less water.
Yeah, true.
Or 20
I'd rather
gallons
have I'd rather have the water and buy paper towels more often. So you notice the curtain is down here on this side, so we've got it in 3 separate panels. So if we are, stealth camping somewhere, and we've got the seats moved forward, we can pull all of it down, and then when we want to get out front, we can unzip and just roll up, any of the 3 sections.
It's actually good too for even if we're just somewhere if it's cold, you want to keep the
Yeah,
heat in.
or
If it's hot.
if it's hot, helps, keep the heat out. And we did use it we were up in Newport, right?
I think so.
And we did notice that
Yeah, because it's cold there.
cold one of the nights, and there was a significant difference in the temperature back here to up in front. So one thing I did forget to mention about this curtain, you'll notice those same little clips are up here at the top. So the 3 center panels with zippers, if we don't want to have them and just want the cover for the headliner shelf, we can take all of these roll down curtains off and take it out of the van.
You did insulate
really
it,
simple,
right?
and yeah, it has a
little bit, right?
Yeah, there's a blackout kind of heavier duty, more felt fabric in between the 2 layers to add that extra insulation. Then back here, to go with the Alpine speakers out back, we've got a subwoofer for all that bass.
Yep.
But on top of that, I've got a shoe holder that I made to keep kind of our flip-flops, our
Any
slippers.
odds and ends, right?
Yeah, we got some odds and ends with wipes and stuff in here. And then on the back of Pat's seat, because you always need tissues, and they would be flying around in the van if they weren't
Yep.
locked down some way. So got this on the back, similar to how I did on the back doors, Velcro with different pouches all labeled. So we've got our headlamps at easy access, sunscreen, bug spray, different cables for charging we need. You'll notice there's one missing. That's where all of our vitamins and whatever else we need to have in there, Tylenol, which after long hikes sometimes we need, get stored up there.
And they did do a nice job with the seats.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll walk around and show that again. The MBUX system. This is the higher end one, the vans they get. Here, I'll sneak up here. I'll just show you the seats before I sit in it. So they did a really nice job with the detailing. My reminders, I actually got this from John and Al Van said this. So you always forget stuff. I know most people I think who have sprinter rigs know I don't like the lane assist. It's not helpful over here. So one of the reminders I have a couple of these actually that I just stuck up here. So when you're in a rush, you don't want to forget things. So, you know, like your hookups. So I just put all these on the steering wheel, you know, whatever else we have, leveling blocks. As we go through, finish it. It's a good way to remember, you know, particularly if it's raining and you're rushing or something.
Yeah.
Also, John and Al Van's mentioned this, great way to level your van, particularly if you're by yourself. You know, one of the trips we had last year, I got up there before Vicky did. She was on travel for work and then met me up there, so I was able to put this in. Helps, you know, the leveling blocks I could kind of manage myself, and then just look at the bubble now and see where that is.
Yeah, and then
we
these
put
ram mount things.
which fit in the holders there. So just standard ram ball. I know you get that. I've got another one over here. That's all this is attached to. We got that, and then we got from Terex the charge groove, which they just 3D print this, which you actually end up screwing in. It fits in really snug, and then you can run your cables out here to all your different mounts, which works well for us. Because we have the S-Pod right here, which has our fog lights, you know, the air compressor, all that. Didn't really have access to some of the other systems I've seen. Actually, there's some that fit in here, and you have a bar down there. Just didn't work out well with that. So Vic did find these ram ball inserts, and then that works well.
I think I bought them on Etsy. I think they were just like
so.
the top.
3D printed, right?
Yep.
So we do have the insulated window covers, which are great. Those make a big difference as well. I don't know if Vic mentioned the other little Alpine tweeters right up here as well, because everybody knows.
And the one convenient thing with those is it really helps hold in our window shades too.
It is good for that. Yep. Let's see if I can do this with one hand. Yep. Just like the other stuff out back. Let's see if I can get a good shot of this. There you go. You can see the other wiring that they have under there. Spare fuses if we need them. It's where the S-Pod hooks up to. The air compressor breakers under there as well. And then all the other breakers that are under there. So again, really nice job with everything. Really clean, easy to see. I don't think we mentioned before, outside van worked with Inhabit Design to get the Inhabit mats in. These are custom fitted. So I didn't want to forget this. You know, we mentioned the bug screen, which is really cool. And outside van worked with Roll F for this part here. Don't want to forget this. You know, I've seen a lot of different solutions for van tables and whatnot. I think this is one of the best ones I've seen though. I'm not biased, I just think it's a great idea. So
it's definitely the most sturdy.
Yeah, you can see the hardware here. And you've got like solid metal table, great height. So if you want to use the induction cooktop, anything if the weather's nice, but real solid table. You know, I've seen ones with cables and everything. I mean, this thing is not going anywhere. This can hold a lot of weight. Some of those other ones are limited to like 10 pounds. Under here as well, just again, we talked about the induction cooktop, another 110 outlet, little storage cubby. Right now that's got some of the air compressor hoses and those things in there.
The only thing with the table, you gotta be very careful not to pinch your fingers.
If anybody has a Syncline, I'm sure you figure this out right now. It's kind of a funny way to do it. You push those in with your thumbs and then just lean on it with your elbows. Simple as that, nice and out of the way. And what's nice is you can leave that like that. You still got the bug screen to keep the bugs out. I'm missing one of the things right here. Amp research, the steps. You can control them. We have a little switch right inside if we want them to be up, if I can find the switch. Yep. You can see them in the stowed position. You can have them on auto, or you can have them down. So one on this side, one on my side. I know a lot of folks are using these. They're a great off-road solution just to give you some clearance, but still have that step as you need it. One little thing here I will point out, because we have a Fiamma awning, come with the plastic clips, and
I broke it on our second trip.
Yeah, so this little part that slides up, Vic just went boop, and it popped right out, and it was broken. So order these online. metal, as you can hear. Not going to run into that problem anymore. Really happy with those as well. The awning, you've probably seen in our videos. It's Fiamma awning, 40S.
Yeah.
I don't know if I need to put that out right now.
It's manual, not power.
Yeah, which is, we don't mind.
Less to worry about fixing.
Yeah, less things to break. It does come with a partial Agile Off Road rip kit, ride improvement package. So you can see the shocks here that they come with. And if you didn't know, Outside Van is actually owned by Fox. Beefed up, they have the heavier bracket in here. The one thing they don't have that I'm going to get is some coilovers. If anybody's got a Sprinter van, you know the body roll can be a little squirrely. Another shock back here for the rear. And then obviously the bigger leaf spring package as well. Storage, obviously a premium. I think you've got the idea with that. By the way, if I didn't mention it, if you're enjoying this video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. It really helps us out. First thing we did get from Owl Vans, we got the spare tire carrier. With that, I got the extension so we could put a Rotopax. Always good to have some extra diesel if you're off-road. And then also from Owl Vans, we got the B2 bike carrier and the Monster Box XL. So as you can see, plenty of storage in here. All labeled, toolkit, sewer supplies, water hoses, electrical hookups, water transfer pump. Again, if you didn't see that video, make sure to check it out. And this is a nice table to work on as well if you need this. So really like the Monster Box from Owl Vans, happy with that. Seen a lot of folks with their Max Tracks here. We actually did something a little different. Follow me over this way. We actually, from Alpine Van Company, they have what's called the alpaca plate. Make sure you buy the right one. But this goes up in the channel up there. It's a great spot to mount your Max Tracks, whatever else you want. Shovels, all that stuff could go up there as well. Standard kind of fill ports. I like these, you know, they're kind of subdued. They're not so, you know, big honking things on the side here like you see on some. So just fill port.
They make me think of a boat.
They do. They're actually boat fills. For these Furion 30 amp, 125 volt connection. Right there, kind of standard. Nothing new on that. Solid ladder that they made. Before I go up there and we look at what's on top, just want to point out gray water, the Max Air fan, solar. So what Vic did put in here as well, pan back a little bit so you can see, these tubes actually have our sewer hose in it for the gray water line if we have a hookup, and then the 90 elbow. Mounted those onto the rack. You can see the pneumatic 48 volts AC that we talked about, and then we shot another video as well for the Roambox. This is 128 liter, waiting for the lid cover to come in tomorrow, but we put that down, fasten that here, so a little bit different mount. You can get down here, you can kind of see how we did that. There's the Starlink high-speed mount. It's actually made, there's a port, I forgot to show it, for the Starlink inside. They actually have an access port. It's over, I think, on this side right here. Yeah, they have a scan strut that goes right through. So all that cabling goes through, so they already had it pre-drilled. So no need to drill a hole, it's all set up for what you need. You said there's a little more storage back there for the small box. We wanted the Roambox, even though it makes us tall. Just like the weatherproofing nature of it as we need it. They do have the rigid 50-inch amber fog light bar up top there. And then down here, do have the rigid fog lights as well. New Hampshire might have covers on them, but you can see, gotta clean those off a little better. So,
lovely pollen.
Yeah, pollen's everywhere. So that's the tour, the grand tour. So that's it. That's the tour we've been promising. Any questions, comments, just leave them below. We really would like some feedback. Let us know. Do you have a Syncline? Do you like it? You know, have you had any issues?
What modifications have you done to yours?
Yeah. And as always, you know, thumbs up, subscribe. What else?
Ring the bell.
Ring the bell. If anybody does that anymore.
We got buggies.
Oh, freeloaders. Thanks.
It's gone.
Yeah. So more stuff coming up. If you don't know, like we said, we've got a big Canada trip. Going to be prepping for that, and some more details coming on that. Maybe some other videos in between then.
Yeah, some other little projects.
Yeah. So I think we're out from here. So keep wandering.
Bye.